My job was not just to win, and it was about, as cliche as it sounds, it's about the journey rather than the destination. We know that we're never going to be out of the game.
I saw the light in a sunrise.
The Blue Devils did respond. Jenzen came through.
Getting baptized in holy water.
Struck him
With
out.
the dogs running. Saved by the sound.
Again, welcome to our second annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We appreciate you all being here. What I'd first of all like to do is, before we eat, I want to give out a few thank yous here that I think are very important. First of all, Grosse Pointe News and Burke Sport Haven, the official supplier of South Baseball. Appreciate their sponsorship. Pamela and Paris Event Services, thank you very much for your services. The real person that does the brunt of the work here, Aaron D. Ludovico. Where are you, Aaron? Also, Dan Jr. for putting together especially the Hall of Fame pieces on YouTube that we did. Those were a lot of fun. The South Dugout Club. We have some members here tonight. Holly Ryan. Thank you, Holly. Greg McPartland. Appreciate you being here. All your help and support. Skyview Creations, my man Jack Ryan. Job, Jack. And of course, our caterer tonight, Marchiori Catering. Thank you very much for being here. What we'll do is we're going to eat first. You'll be escorted to the buffet, so please don't make a rush there. You'll be escorted. And if everybody could please bow their heads, I'd like to just say a little word of prayer. Dear Lord, we bow before you this day. So grateful and so thankful for the opportunity you give us to be honoring these young men into our Hall of Fame. We thank you for their accomplishments, not only on the field, but off the field as well. We thank you for this food, Lord, and ask that you would bless it and also be mindful of those who stand in need at this time. We thank you for all you have done for us, all you've provided for us, but most of all, we thank you for your sacrifice. So take us all in your care and keeping, and we hope that tonight all is pleasing to you. We ask these favors in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, I'd like to get started. First thing I'd like to do is introduce my staff that's sitting here in front. I am the luckiest coach in the world to have the staff that I've had for 41 years, really, but especially the last 25 or 30. These four gentlemen are on my varsity staff right now. John Hackett, guys, please stand. John.
Yeah.
Matt Reno.
Yeah.
Where's Matt? Is he still eating? Okay. All right. My son, Dan Jr. And the newest member of our varsity staff, pitcher from Albion, and that's his second year this year, Peter Locke. Pete? And again, Matt, please stand and be acknowledged. And I tell people all the time, I don't think anybody that I've ever heard of has three assistants in John, Matt, and Dan Jr. that have been with me for 75 years combined. 75 years. Again, I'm the luckiest coach in the world. We have a few former coaches here as well. We got D.C. McGee, Pete Muir, 86 grad. And we also have, as we're very happy to see here today, Paul Pellerito. Paulie. Not to mention a few that we're honoring tonight. Here's how we're going to do this. First of all, let me apologize. I'm not Ryan or Monty. Okay? Ryan really sends his regrets. He had to be called out of town for a funeral, unfortunately, but he said he will be back here next year. So you'll just have to all come back next year to hear Ryan. And he did a super job for us last year, and he's definitely going to be missed. Also, our JV coaches that I wanted to acknowledge, Dennis Clow and Stephen Walworth. We have a few others that could not be here. Tim Lynch and Wells Graham. And of course, father of one of our inductees. Please stand, he's just done a tremendous job for us, Doug Jenzen. Come on, Doug, stand up. Just because we're both in our seventh inning doesn't mean you can't stand up, all right? All right. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have some players who played with our inductees tonight. They're all three inductees from last year. We're going to start it off. Dan Jr. is going to talk about Charlie Braun. Then Adam Abraham will talk about Ben Jenzen. And Cam Gibson will talk about Carmen Benedetti. So to lead it off here, Junior, come on up.
Really honored to be up here to talk about my longtime friend Charlie Braun. It's tough for guys when you're friends for a long time. It's tough to get up and talk about each other without ribbing each other, making a little bit of fun. And I had an idea, and then I picked up my mom tonight, and she got in the car, and one of the first things she said was, geez, I really hope nobody makes fun of Charlie for being small. So I'm like, oh, well, there goes that. It's very difficult to make fun of Charlie. I mean, he was such a great player. He's so smart. Like, he's such a nice guy. Like, that's all I had. So that she killed me right off the bat. But really honored to be up here. Charlie, my only former teammate that became a neurologist. That's impressive. And the only neurologist, I think, ever who, when you ask him to describe himself, says he's, quote unquote, a devoted fan of the Grateful Dead. The only guy I know like that. But go way back with Char. I mean, my first memory of him goes back to the district tournament at Harper Woods, 12U, and he was a legit superstar. I was with Grosse Pointe Woods Shores. We felt we were really good. We had heard that we had a good chance to win this thing, except for maybe Grosse Pointe Park. And went out there and I saw, this guy that's supposed to be a superstar, and he's this, guy who's not big, just mowing everybody down on the mound. And I think somebody told me his name was Charlie Brown the first time. Quickly learned that wasn't correct, but he could sure play. And ended up playing them in the finals, and it did not go well for me. I was a starting pitcher, gave up a leadoff home run to Johnny Birschbeck, walked Tony Toko, Charlie laced a double, Jason Mangle hit one that's still hanging over the area that used to be Eastland Mall. And that was about it for me. They went on to play for quite a while, got, I think, a couple wins from the Little League World Series, but that was my first memory of Char, and I knew shortly after that I certainly wanted to be his teammate and not play against him too often going forward. And we sure had a great time at South. I mean, we enjoyed those days in the late 90s, that, guerrilla ball that was high school baseball in the late 90s, where we had a bunch of baseball games that were, 22-17, and scored a lot of runs during those times, especially 1998. And the two of us went into the 99 season having both signed letters of intent to play Division I baseball, and we thought we were going to have, a really good year. We shared a page on the Free Press together, which was neat. And then we went to spring training, and we trained at Tigertown, and we came back from spring training, and we kicked the crap out of North twice. I mean, it was just an unbelievable day. And then God said, "That's enough." That was about the last good thing that happened that year. And eventually, Char had kind of an unlucky injury that year, or else he would have put up even bigger stats than he did anyway. hustle play, trying to steal third base, and he ended up getting injured. And he still had an unbelievable year regardless. But just a workhorse who was an unbelievable teammate, a really smart player, a hustle guy. Really had a hockey mentality in a lot of ways. He was an unbelievable hockey player, all-state hockey player. In fact, we were teammates in summer ball as well, and his hockey mentality came out a little bit. Earmuffs, kids. But long story short, he started a fight at his position, shortstop. He started a fight with a guy that was crossing his path, and I was playing left field, right behind the shortstop, and self-defense. Sure. And by the way, we were in Canada, so he started an international incident right around shortstop, and me coming from left field, if you like hockey, that's called third man in. You don't really want to be that. But long story short, I had my back to the Canadian dugout, and I ended up getting pounded pretty good into the sand. But that, we had a lot of fun times like that. Charlie was a really hard-nosed player and somebody that you wanted to play with and not play against. But for South, what a career. All-state twice, 1998 and 1999. It's on our all-time leaderboard. Single season at-bats, hits, runs, triples, walks. For a career, all-time leaderboard, batting average, hits, runs, doubles, triples, home runs, walks. 4-year starter at MSU, captain, all Big Ten, just unbelievable career. And, probably the best thing I can say about him, and this is, really special, I think, but, I've been talking to baseball players my whole life. I've been a coach for 20-some years. I worked in pro ball for a similar amount of time. I've talked to a lot of players, and I've never heard anyone answer a question like this before. When they asked him to name his favorite memory of playing baseball, he mentioned his teammate, Jeff Nelson, hitting his first home run in the districts. And I've never heard anyone say something like that. I've never heard anyone mention their favorite memory being something that their teammate did. And it just speaks to, how unselfish of a player he was, what a great team guy he was. Almost anyone would mention a personal memory or a championship one or something like that, but to mention just something that a teammate did, that's unbelievable, and it's just typical Charlie Braun. So really honored to come up here and induct him into the Grosse Pointe South Baseball Hall of Fame. Congrats, Chuck.
Check that out, huh? Thanks, guys. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I was on the bottom of that pile, that rumble in Windsor. Guy came up like Ty Cobb, just spiked me. I had to do something, right? Dan, thanks so much. That was special. I do have a speech, so bear with me. It'll take some time, but saddle up. What a great honor in the coolest of circumstances. You're in your mid-40s, immersed in the middle of a busy life with an accomplished wife, important work, and a great family with all the kids' sports. Tournaments in Canada, early mornings at the rink, field hockey in Disney, endless hours on the baseball diamond. The stress of trying your hardest and doing your best, but never having enough time to get the laundry done. Sound familiar, parents? So this is the stage of life that I get that call that I'm being honored in the Hall of Fame. If I was 8 playing backyard baseball with my bro, I would have reacted to this honor like the Grateful Dead did when the Kennedy Center called them up a couple weeks ago to honor them as an American tribute to artistic achievement. Pure disbelief. But here I am, 44 and a half, in the middle of my life, hopefully. And it's time to reflect, right? I feel like I've lived many lives playing baseball. The early years, mostly with my brother, or Tony Tocco, or Adam Hess in the backyard. Early aluminum bats, early aluminum and wood bats, random gloves, it didn't matter. We played from sun up to sundown. We threw all the pitches. Home runs were off the roof. Little leagues seemed like the big leagues. I can remember going to scout Fritz Coiro at a pretty early age with my dad and brother, maybe 6. He was playing in the majors. Names like Andy Crowley and Kevin Schroeder were pretty much the same as Whitaker and Trammell. Little League for me was like a dream. Our White Sox team was stacked, hardly losing during our 3 years as a unit. All Stars as a 12-year-old, as Danny highlighted, pretty special. We were matched up, as you heard, against the Griesbaum duo in our district final, and the score didn't end up so good for Danny and Coach. We won 10-0 and sailed to a state championship. Valiant attempt at a trip to Williamsport, coming up just a couple wins shy. Babe Ruth was equally fantastic. We lost in the state final as a 13-year-old to Danny and his dad. The next year ended up winning our last game of the season in the Midwest Regional. It happened to be just a couple days after Jerry Garcia died. So that was a source of inspiration. All of this prepped me for my years of baseball in high school and in high school at South and later in college at MSU. These formative years of baseball helped crystallize in me several valuable lessons that I think helped me later in baseball and in life, and I'd like to take a second to share. First lesson was hard work can be fun. That was an important lesson for me. The next lesson, the flow of energy can be manipulated. What I discovered was that with the right kind of mentality, you could bend the game in your favor. I had to stop being so hard on myself, let go of the bad at-bats, visualize what success feels like, and soon the results would follow. So the stage was set to begin high school at South. When I think back, I'm just struck by the access I had to great coaching. Not just from Coach Griesbaum, who was somehow able to channel the aura of a pack of big league chew into his coaching vibe. In my mind, with those short shorts, old fungo, and of course that bushy ginger stash, Coach harkened back to a different time in baseball, where Pete Rose was a star, and I just wanted to play my butt off for that guy. The whole staff, though, was quite impressive. Bill Moak won an NCAA national championship at U of M. Steve Merriman became a D1 and professional coach in the Mets organization. I have to throw in Dave Bergman, rest in peace, and Chris Newell later, because these guys helped hone my skills in the summer and in prep for college and beyond. And not technically on staff, we had one of the great baseball minds of the day hanging around the park in Dan's uncle, Gary Vito, who was able, as Dan mentioned, to get us all 3 South teams down to spring training our senior year, which was such a special occurrence. It's hard for me to pick out concrete memories, honestly. I feel like I'm qualified to talk about memory as a neurologist, but my concrete memories are hard to pick out from South. I think I'm kind of like a body-centered person, and so I remember adjustments I made at the plate, kind of like a secret code in the body that unlocked a secret chi, secret energy. For me, baseball was like an art form, a dance. I studied guys like Omar Vizquel and Chipper Jones, the ones who made it look effortless. I focused on their actions and the data planted in my subconscious, and my body became more intelligent. I learned flow through playing baseball. I was enthralled by elements of rhythm and timing built into the game. I used to yell over to my third base partner, Teddy Swarthout, rest in peace, from short, "You got your dancing shoes on?" We used to sing to each other Grateful Dead riffs and lyrics. I remember my teammates and the camaraderie. I played catch with Andrew Hendry every practice and game. I remember Danny hitting 2 laser beam home runs against Rochester our junior year, who was supposedly the best team in the nation at the time. I remember Jeff Nelson hitting his one and only home run of his career in his last at-bat of high school, which should have helped us beat North, but, we won't talk about that. I remember my buddies Messicar and Szymanski becoming doctors with me. Dan Batches became my financial advisor, and I know I'm going to see him at the next Fish Show. I still go to shows with my buddies from Little League. For me, what I remember most was further developing my mindset. With my mom's help, I came across a book, The Mental Game of Baseball, by 2 sports psychologists who worked with the pros. It's funny, years later, working as a neurologist and dealing with people who can have a difficult existence, I find myself referencing the lessons in that book more than the references from medical texts. For me, that's part of the magic of baseball. More than any other sport, in my opinion, it's the great metaphor for life. It's really about how to respond to failure and how to get out of your own way. This is where the science of resilience and overcoming fear lives, the science of neuroplasticity. See how it all kind of fits together? This is what I'm all about. An observation I'd like to make about Coach Griesbaum and his program, because that's really why we're here tonight. It's a top-notch program with multiple state championships, league championships, tons of high-caliber players moving on to play in college and the pros. Paradoxically, for such a winning program, I don't think the focus was always on winning. The focus was instead on developing the right kind of ball player. Coach was really in the business of transformation. His method was simplicity through consistency. Guys, stop playing video games and get outside and practice. I still remember him saying 30 plus years ago. I think it's the same message today. There's a quote that seems applicable here. It's simple to be successful, but difficult, so difficult to be simple. He showed us the way with his even keel and set the right kind of boundaries. He cared more about the right effort and heart than raw talent. He laid out the expectations clearly, and we all had to follow suit. There were no exceptions. Not to mention, he was our high school health teacher. In plain language, he embodied a proper male role model. And then, when it was all said and done, he kept rooting for you. He showed up at my MSU games, my bachelor party, my wedding, calls me if he thinks I can help out. He's pretty much family. So it wasn't always about winning. It's about placing your ego over there and showing up. But interestingly, winning became a symptom of his simple method. And look at where we have come. Tradition never dies. Next, obviously, I got to thank my dad. When I think of my dad in baseball, I get a funny feeling. It's like observing something that's meant to be. It's like that quote from Bull Durham. I believe in the church of baseball. I've tried all the major religions and most of the minor ones, and the only church that truly feeds the soul day in and day out is the church of baseball. When I first saw that movie when I was about 8, I knew that was about my dad. I had a perverse fantasy of being Crash Davis as a career. I think when the dust settled, I was closer to Moonlight Graham. My dad was with me every step of the way, my partner in crime through this journey. He knew my swing better than I did and can still tell you the details about most games I played in. I've seen him predict home runs down to the location and the pitch count numerous times. He's got ESP, but only around the baseball diamond. I think our 12-year-old all-star team got wrapped up in his personal fairy tale. He's nicknamed the Baseball Whisperer. Many of my life-defining moments took place with my dad on a baseball field. And I'm not talking about championships won necessarily. I'm talking about the grind, the process. We'd go hitting everywhere. It was kind of our ritual. It's hard to detail everything, but the positive impact he left on countless kids, the impact on our collective baseball community and on me is immeasurable. He set the tone and planted seeds of goodwill for baseball for a whole city. Together with my mom at Dick's Worthout, they started the Dugout Club at South. Together with Dave Bertman and Coach, they started the Michigan High School Baseball Showcase. The energy he poured into the game and the people around the game, the life lessons that bubbled up along the way, was nothing less than an effort of love. The countless hours on the diamond with me, helping me find that flow and developing my mindset. I owe him everything. I think that love of the game passed through him into me directly. DNA is a strong molecule. And lastly, and most importantly, my mom deserves a whole bunch of credit. She showed us, these Braun kids, how much she loved her kids. She embodied her kids' energy. It was like a feedback loop. The more we got involved, the more she got involved, the more we got involved, ad infinitum. She was the mastermind of it all. She organized the camps, logistics, rides, even over bridges, which is a fear of hers. She made the jerseys, kept score. She actually still has all the scorebooks, if you can believe it. She yelled at the umps and refs, traveled anywhere and everywhere. She graduated college a Wolverine, but later became a Spartan because we were immersed in it together for so long. That says a lot, right, man? She had this great way of being involved and present, but stayed out of the way. She had this intuitive knack of understanding our dreams and facilitating their unfolding. She didn't want to take the credit. She just wanted to see us experience our joy. When I thought med school might be a little much, she was there to remind me who I am and how to get out of my own way. She knew what we were capable of, even if we didn't. She became like family to the other parents and grandparents on our teams. She organized the team dinners, usually cooked them all. She was always there, somehow. All the ER visits, the breathing machine treatments, when my asthma acted up in the cold, navigated all the ridiculous allergy nonsense. I have about 52 allergies. Through all the cold ranks, I have an image of stoic resolve in my head when I think of her in the stands at Northwestern, first weekend in April, 34 degrees with a cold-ass wind ripping off Lake Michigan. My mom was like a sanctuary, not just for us Brauns, but really for all the kids I knew growing up. I can't leave here without also thanking several people and families not mentioned yet that were connected through baseball and or hockey. It does take a village. The entire Getz family, the Morawski family, the Swarthouts, the rest of the Griesbaums, my siblings, my brother Justin, who was a source of inspiration and support, who wanted to be here tonight, my wife, who is my pride and joy, and my children, who are here with me, Bea, Julius, and Tally. They're also great treasures and my greatest teachers. So, without further ado, my time up here is done. So, you know, my love will not fade away. That's a quote from the Grateful Dead.
One person I did forget in terms of coaching at South is Charlie's dad, Tony. Tony, please stand. By the way, Charlie mentioned his mom and umpires. My favorite line of hers when she didn't like what the umpire had called was, "Hey ump, shake your head, your eyes are stuck." Love that one, love that one. Next, we're going to have last year Hall of Famer Adam Abraham, and he's going to talk about Ben Jenzen.
First, just honored to obviously be here again. You know, as I was, Junior asked us to do this, I kind of was thinking, you know, there's people in life that you end up just becoming attached to, one way or the other, right? It could be a family member, it could be, you know, anybody in life, and Ben and I are certainly attached in life at this point. Ben was the star Little League player from the farm city that you kind of hear about from the park, and I guess tooting my own horn, was the star from the park, right? And you're tied together, and then we went to South, and he was a star in his own right at South in multiple sports. I don't know if as many people know this, how good he was in other sports, and it came easy to him in some aspects. He was a tremendous athlete. And not only did we share time at South, we also went to the University of Michigan together, where we won 3 straight Big Ten championships. And when you win championships, it's something different. The reunions, the time together, the time winning, it changes your relationship with someone. You become tied to them. And here I am tonight, honoring him into something I was inducted in last year. And it's just another tie that him and I will share together for the rest of our lives. And I couldn't be more honored to share those experiences with an outstanding man. Ben, I've known for a long time. We've competed together, and I'll say this: I'm glad I was with him and not against him. Ben is, as we all know, he's an extremely intense competitor, and I don't use that lightly. He was the guy you wanted on your team. I did not want to face him. In fact, in fall ball in the winters, he was the guy I would, hey, put the walk on, let the walk on hit off him, right? I did not want to go in and face him in the cages at Oosterbaan at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, him staring you down, about to throw a 93-mile-an-hour fastball high and tight, and you're in a little 10-foot cage, you feel like you got nowhere to go, and he doesn't care because he's going to compete. And that's who Ben was. When I was calling around when I got to do this, right, I have the memories of Ben, and Ben had a tremendous career at the University of Michigan with me. He became a high leverage reliever for us, and that for someone that competes the way he does, it was a perfect role for him. He led our team in saves. I believe his sophomore year, led in appearances. Junior year followed up with another terrific year where I think he pitched in almost 30 games for us that year as well. So we shared a lot of time together at the field. And as I called around just to say, hey, I'm giving this speech for Ben. What are your memories of Ben? And it was the intensity, right? The competitive drive for Ben was something that drove him. But it wasn't just between the lines that competitiveness came out. It was in the weight room. It was in the classroom. It was everywhere. That was Ben, right? And he drove himself to be better, but he drove the teammates to be better. He didn't take shortcuts, and I think that's the ultimate praise you can give someone, is that he didn't take a shortcut, never, right? And like I said, that's the kind of guy you want to go to battle with. That's the kind of guy you want to play with. And for me, that's who Ben was. And like I said, Ben and I will be tied together for a number of reasons for the rest of our lives. And for me, there's not a better person to be tied to for the rest of my life than Ben. His on-field accolades speak for themselves, but the drive, the competitiveness, the will to do everything right, even when no one else was looking, I think is what I remember most about Ben, and it's what our teammates remember most about Ben, and I think that speaks a lot for him. So I am honored to introduce Ben Jenzen as the Hall of Fame inductee for 2025.
Thanks for not sharing all the stories, Adam. Well, I got to move this up as Charlie. Give me a minute here. I mean, Junior, you guys are kind of like the same height. So. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's an honor to stand up here. Coach, I'm going to need 5 minutes next year because half of this is about Ryan Armani. So I'm going to need to get those barbs in. But no, thank you very much to the Dugout Club for putting this event on. We have a long history of phenomenal athletes and baseball players at Grosse Pointe South, and it's truly an honor to be up here tonight. So, I'm not as polished as the doctor. But first of all, I want to congratulate the inductees. Sean, didn't know you other than the fact that you're all over the record books. Phenomenal athlete. My son Luke. We'll get to him in a minute. Dan, I mean, phenomenal athlete in his own right, phenomenal coach. I mean, this guy won a state championship at the Liggett. Like, Liggett used to be the team where like, oh, cool, we get to play Liggett, get our stats in. Like, that's second to none. Charlie, phenomenal player. You might not know this, but I would ride my bike up and watch you and Danny play. You guys were our heroes when we were kids. Carmen, just absolute stud. This kid hit everything. I could throw it at his head and he would hit it probably. And then me, I'm the career leader in HBPs. You know, so someone had to do it. Coach Grosse Pointe, thank you very much for bringing this group together, for everything you've taught us through the years, teaching us to be men. Dan Jr., thank you for all the support you've given us through the years as well. All the socials, the videos have been great. Been fun sending those out to the family as well. There's a lot who have been influential in my life who are not here tonight. I get this from my dad. Mike McLeod, John Dunaway, Tom Andrew, Bill Moak, my Uncle Tim, Dave Bergman. Phenomenal men who mean so much to our baseball community. The beauty of this is being able to thank all of those people. This is my opportunity to thank those people, so thank you. Bob Hartanic, Bob Schmidt, great Little League coaches. Rick Moore, I think a lot of us in here played for Coach Moore in some capacity. Dick Swarthout, I'll never forget, our freshman team had been together for years. And I'll never forget, Coach Swarthout, you know, doesn't know all of us as well. He's putting together our lineups, we're running out there. We're not having so much luck in the first, 5-6 games. I think it's Benny Schroedy's mom grabs Coach Swarthout and she goes, Nick Andrews, our leadoff hitter. Nick had been batting like 7th. And he's like, what do you mean? She goes, he's our leadoff hitter. And we won like 20 games after that. Bill Thompson, my swim coach. There are so many coaches in that sport who could push their athletes to say, give it all up, get your butt in the pool 24/7. Not Bill. Supported me through all throughout high school, even when he could have very easily told me to do that with swimming. Tony Braun. Where's Tony? Those first space therapy sessions we had in Redbirds, man. I needed those as a hot-headed 15-year-old. I probably still need them as a hot-headed almost 39-year-old. But not only are you a fantastic coach, but you've become a great friend to not only me, but my family. Please keep taking my dad golfing. His game needs to work, and my mom needs the break. John Hackett. Couldn't have asked for a better pitching coach. You were exactly the person and the demeanor that I needed to be successful in my career. Thank you. My teammates, like I said, a lot of us have been together since we were 8 years old. All-star games, practices, team picnics, road trips, everything. In this day and age, when you see so many guys going off in different directions at young ages, we had a group of guys who were always together, always rooting for each other, and we didn't need to play 75, 80 games to be successful. We were going out and beating all these travel teams without even blinking. We had a fantastic group. I mentioned a few already. Nick Andrew, our leadoff hitter, our tone setter. I mean, I always had a 1-0 lead with Nick Andrew batting at the top of our order. Drew Badan, my catcher, my guide. kept me in line when I needed to. He told me what needed to be said, even when I didn't want to hear it. Tom Sawicki, PJ Janatol, Benny Schrody, some of my great teammates from growing up, all great humans. Adam, our friendship, right? I mean, like you said, it's always been a connection that's there, from Little League all the way up through college. Thank you. Thank you for that friendship and that connection and that support. Wasn't going to tell a story, but Adam saved my backside against Ohio State one year, making a phenomenal play. This guy pulled a Miguel Cabrera and tried to slap the intentional pitch based on ball pitch, and Adam just goes flying probably 40 inches in the air to catch this thing. Thank you. But we're here tonight because of baseball and all the friendships and the community we have here because of baseball. Like I said, some of my best memories as a kid were hopping on my bike, going over to Elworthy, going to Grosse Pointe South, watching Danny and Charlie play. Like I said, those guys are our heroes, and we just wanted to be like them. So after a South game, Nick and I, we'd be up at Elworthy, we'd be hitting balls, we'd be hitting flies to each other. Some of my best Sunday afternoons, John Keogh would be showing up at the field with Danny when my dad and I were already up there hitting BP. Just phenomenal memories. Like that's what made our group great, and I think what is making this sport so great is the ability to go out and do those things, to put in the practice when nobody's looking or telling you. We learned more in those afternoons than any private lesson or any private coach could ever teach us. That's what made us who we were. But again, as we're thinking about the baseball and the community and what it means to us, it's not surface level. As my good friend Tom Hanks said, baseball is what gets inside of you. It's what lights you up. And there is no community more so than Grosse Pointe that embodies that. It's special. We look at the competition we have in this community, not only amongst ourselves, but amongst our own high schools. I live in a community now outside Columbus, Ohio. They have 3,500 kids at their high school. Grosse Pointe would win a state championship every single year if North and South were combined. That is an extreme level of talent here in this community. And it's all been cultivated because of the great support that we have in this room tonight. The other part of being up here is giving those thank yous to people who would never ask for that. Mom, first of all, you're married to Dad, so thank you. No, Mom, you were always there for me. Taking us to games, toting the family around to travel ball, supporting me through the good games and the bad, being okay with it when Dad and I would come home from those Sunday afternoons at the field, and we might have had a few words for each other and walked opposite directions when we got in the house, but you just knew that that's how we got together, and that's how we made each other better, and you let us be. You're also probably the only mom in America who's ever been hit by a pitch by her own son. Mike Volano from Central witnessed that. Yeah, that was not a good day. In my defense, Bedan missed the pitch. It just right through the backstop. Anyways, Dad, you're the best. Taught me this game. Taught me how to hit. You taught me how to throw. You taught me how to pitch. You taught me how to think, so I always knew what I needed to do. Again, our best memories are not, traveling around the country playing a million games. Our best memories are playing catch in the front yard in Rivard, cut out a slab 17 inches wide, chasing the ball down the block when I threw it by you, going to the field, hitting BP, shagging fly balls, learning how to throw like a catcher when I was 9 years old when nobody else could. Those are the things that no private lesson or private coach could ever teach me. I have young kids, so I haven't gotten there quite there yet, but for any current South players and parents in the room, just go play catch. You don't need a private coach. You just need to go play catch. It's the best thing. But also baseball, as Adam alluded to, is a game that has allowed us to forge lifelong bonds that I'm so very fortunate to have today. It gave me a chance to get a first-class education at the University of Michigan. It allowed me to go places I would not have otherwise gone. It allowed me to meet people I would not have otherwise known. Put me on a patio bar in Chicago, where I met my wife. The most beautiful and amazing woman I'll ever know. Sorry, Mom. No offense. But these opportunities to meet these people and become engaged in lifelong friendships and bonds and connections were all put in place because of the opportunities we had through baseball and through this great community. I have the opportunity to be a husband, to be a father to Isabel and Luke. And I'll never regret any of the what could have beens in my baseball career because I'm right where I need to be. I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm honored to be here tonight. Thank you to the community. Thank you to Grosse Pointe South. Thank you, Coach Braun, for this honor.
Okay, and now to introduce Carmen Benedetti, Cam Gibson.
Hello, hello. I like to keep this as quick as I can. Mainly because if I know Carmen, he doesn't want me up here talking about how good he was. And secondly, this fireplace is hot as all hell. So we're gonna say some kind things and get in and get out. You'll hear from the man himself. I didn't really know much about Carmen when I was in high school because I came from Wood Shores, and my coach is actually here, Gary Stark. Shout out Gary. So everybody, the buzz around town was, yeah, Carmen's coming. Carmen's coming to school here. It's gonna be awesome. And I was just like, wow, really? That's great. I don't know who the hell you're talking about, but it's gonna be awesome. And almost right away, I think all the coaches and the guys who saw him play can attest. Almost right away, he took off, and he was the guy on our team from the get-go. When I think of the prototypical Grosse Pointe South baseball player, what it means to be, a South baseball player, I had the fortune of seeing it in Carmen. There's just a certain amount of professionalism and calmness that he brings to the field that I sure as hell didn't have, and a lot of guys that I played with just didn't have. But when you have a guy like Carmen at the plate, there's just this confidence that he exudes that you're almost positive he's going to come through when it really matters. He had an incredible career at South. I'm not a big stats guy, but you can't really not read these stats. Carmen has career marks, and it's minorly important numbers here. Batting average, hits, doubles, home runs, RBIs, and walks. So that's pretty good for a 4-year career. He went to Michigan, so I had the honor of playing with him and against him, and then we were both drafted, and I got the honor of playing against him then too. having a career like that, it's not easy on a ball player, and all ball players can attest. It's much easier when you have a really good support system. And Carmen's family is, and they've always been one of the best. They were always kind to me. They were always welcoming to me. Carmen's mom fitted me and got me a tux for prom, for Christ's sake. That was pretty awesome. And you can see today, I'm still taking my Mr. Benedetti. We both got the high t-shirt on. I'm still taking my tips from you guys. No, but it's really easy to make your way through a career, but it's even better when you have such a great support system. And Carmen, it was an honor to play with you. It was an honor to play against you, buddy. And it's an honor to welcome you here into the Hall of Fame, man.
I love this suit, man. You fucking look amazing, dude. Thank you.
Yes, buddy, it's hot back here.
Yes, I'm more sweating. Okay. Well, thank you, Cam. Yeah, I got to play with Cam for 3 years at South. See, I always do this, too. I will say, I remember many times when I had to go up against the mic, I would look at my mom, she would say, down, up, and stuff like that. But I got to play with Cam for 3 years, and it was so much fun. Those teams were a lot of fun. Hitting batting practice with him, trying to compete, and who would hit the most home runs off of Schroeder and Coach Reno, and it was just a blast. So yeah, but thank you to everybody who could be here tonight. Thank you to the Dugout Club. Thank you for anybody who was involved in this to get this going for us, and to share some time here to talk about our memories and kind of open up the yearbook one more time. You know, it's, you know, when I look back at my time playing ball, and I didn't even really like baseball when I was a kid. I was a soccer kid. I could run around and kick a ball, and that was a lot of fun. But then I started growing, and my hamstrings started hurting a lot. So I couldn't really do that anymore. And I was right over there, my best friend, Steve Bregman. I was over at his house, and he was like, you know, we were playing catch, and I'm like, I don't know, here you go, here's the ball, throw it, catch it, whatever. He goes, you know, you're pretty good at that. You might want to give it a shot. You want to play Little League? And I was like, yeah, Dad, can I play Little League with Steve? Okay, whatever, yeah. And then it took off from there. And I've had so many amazing memories, and been able to play with so many wonderful people, and had such wonderful coaches. You know, when I look back at all the coaches that I had, I can name a list of people here, and if I do, I'll start crying. You won't hear a word come out of my mouth. You know, 12 years ago, in the summer of 2013, so maybe 11 and a half years ago now, but it was my senior speech, and I went through it with my parents, and, you know, I'm trying to rehearse it, and yeah, that sounds good, it'd be great, it'll go wonderful up there. And I'll be like, okay. I got introduced to do my senior speech. I got one sentence, and you couldn't hear a damn thing after that. Because of just what this community and what this program meant, you know, those 4 years that I were there and beyond. You know, I look back at even some of the travel ball teams I played on Little League. When I was 12 years old, we got to finally beat the Wood Shores, who were always very tough to beat or to play against. They always had good competition. I mean, and when you really think about it, you have to go through the park, the Wood Shores, the Farm Cities, which is what I was a part of, and to get through all of that just to get to the state tournament, and you realize the amount of talent that is in this community, which I think is comprised, when you take them all together, a population of what, 50,000 people? And they're not all ball players, obviously, so then you take the kids, and you really think about what accomplishments have happened here. I mean, it comes from your start at T-ball, to when you go and play Little League. And every coach, every selfless coach that wants you to be the best player that you can be and be the best person you can be. And to even think about a team that I got to play in travel ball. We were called the Michigan Wolves, and it was comprised of, I think, one kid who went to Eisenhower, right, so he wasn't a Grosse Pointer. Another kid who went to Grosse Pointe North, and then pretty much everybody else was Grosse Pointe Farm City and Park kids. And we went from that little team in Michigan playing in a warehouse over on 13, I think it was 13 Mile and Van Dyke. And in Michigan weather, those were some cold nights playing. But we were willing to do it because we loved it so much, and we loved each other so much, and the coaches wanted the best for us. I would have appreciated a heater, but that's okay. To go and play in those tournaments and play at the level that we were be able to play at. I was just talking about with Adam Abraham before we started. We got the chance to go to Puerto Rico. A bunch of Grosse Pointe kids going up against what I thought was Miguel Cabrera at the plate at 12 years old. And it was such a surreal moment with a 1,000 fans screaming at you, not wanting you to win, obviously. They wanted the Puerto Rican team to win. And you're like, I'm just a kid from Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. Like, what is going on? But it goes to show that this community and what they're able to teach these kids and how much they care about these kids from when they start in Little League all the way up until their last game in high school. They want the best for you, not only to win games and to beat North and to do all those wonderful things and in those rivalries and in those fun games, but they want to set you up for the rest of your life. And from there, I got to go to the University of Michigan, play 3 years there, have a lot of fun, got to play against Cam and a bunch of other guys. Got to meet my wife, Natalie, who was on the Michigan softball team, and create more memories. And I couldn't have done that without my time here in Grosse Pointe and my time here at Grosse Pointe South. When I think of the coaching staff here, and once again, how this could all come to be, you look at these guys sitting right here, okay? Coach Griesbaum's been here for 40 years, and I had talked about it with people before, like, well, why are you going to Michigan? It's 20 degrees out in January. Why are you going? Because now I live in San Diego, right? So people are not understanding why I'm coming back for the winter. And I thought about it some more, and I explained, yeah, they're doing a Hall of Fame ceremony. This is what they're doing now, all this stuff. That is amazing. Each person would say that. That is so cool because of these guys right here. When you have programs that have a lot of coaches or can't get that consistency like they can here, you don't see stuff like this. And it's a testament to these guys and the effort that they put in and what they want for those boys every single time they step on that field and beyond. And I'm just so thankful for that. I mean, I wouldn't have had the career that I had and all the things that I got to do and the experiences that I was able to have without these guys and many other coaches that I had the privilege of playing for. It's truly something that I want to press on going forward, is those kids that are here now playing in Grosse Pointe Farm Little League and Wood Shores and the park and everything of that nature, go play Little League here, because it will be an experience like no other. You will learn so much. You will have people that want the best for you, and then you get to Grosse Pointe South, and then these guys take it from there. And it's something, like I said, that you look back and you talk about your high school memories and you talk about the fun, and it's something that I just really truly appreciate every single day. I remember when I was hugging Coach Griesbaum in our last game against U of D, and we lost 4-3. I think it was Andrew Eaton who smoked the ball down the third base line. The kid grabbed it, stepped on third, and that was it. And as I was hugging him, he goes, "We're gonna miss you. We can't think of you not being here next year. And what are we gonna do?" And I go, "Are you kidding me? You guys are gonna be just fine." And then right after that, the year after that, that team went to, I believe, the Final Four. Am I correct on that? Like I said, it's not about me. Right? I was able to have a great career, and I'm very thankful for that. But it's because of these guys and the culture that they've created for decades. And then they go on to the Final Four. They go on to win multiple district championships, and I believe go on to win the state championship, of course. And I remember, I think I was on a bus in the minor leagues, and I was trying to watch on Twitter, like, what's the score, right? And sure enough, they win, and I immediately put these guys in a group chat and tell them how proud I am of them. It's truly amazing. They create a culture and an atmosphere that you want to win, you want to play well, you want to be a better person, okay? And above all, be a better person. And I just want to thank you guys for that, truly from the bottom of my heart. I'll finish with this too. I don't get to come out here as often as I'd like. I live in California. I love it. it's great, but this place will always be home to me. And to come here, say hello to everybody, tell a story, catch up, do whatever it is something that I appreciate every single moment that I get to be here. So thank you for letting me tell my little stories and share my experiences and give thanks. The last thing I'd like to say too is to my parents, of course. And I wasn't going to do this because I really thought I was going to cry like halfway into this. And like I said, they'd have no idea what I'm saying. My dad was a tile salesman. Was a bass player playing a lot of rock bands. So none of which I said he was an athlete, right? And he took the time from the moment I said I wanted to start playing Little League Baseball to learn this game. And so we'd be in the car and he'd be driving me to practice, game to game. And he goes, so when the second baseman, I mean, we had to really work up to the positions part, but let's just move forward with this. So when the second baseman, he tosses the ball to the shortstop, and then he throws it to first, but now there's 2 outs. How does that happen? Right? So we had to work our way up from that. So not only was he learning, but I was learning as well, too, so we got to learn together. And that truly was a special time, and as much as it was later on a little bit frustrating for me because we had gone over it multiple times, I had appreciated the fact that I had parents that wanted to know what I was doing, right? You hear stories of parents who want their kids to do something and only one thing, right? And they were willing to go along with it. My mom owned a tuck shop for decades. And she liked baseball, but didn't maybe know too much about it, but was willing to wash my pants from when I got home at 11 p.m. and we had to hit the road to go somewhere downriver at 6 in the morning and get those stains out. And I know a lot of the moms here, you know exactly what that's like, and even the parents, whoever's doing the laundry. Just to get up with me during their busy lives to do whatever it took from me and, of course, my sister as well. Is something I truly will never forget and truly appreciate. And it was the hardest conversation to tell them that I wasn't going to be playing baseball anymore. But they knew that they were excited for whatever was coming my way afterwards and whatever I wanted to get into. And I love them. I appreciate them. I'm so thankful for them that they became or were so selfless and willing to go on this journey with me. And I'm so happy that we got to have a lot of fun and enjoy many memories together. One specifically, we were coming back from a tournament in Georgia, and we had stopped in this random, I can't remember what fast food joint it was. We were exhausted. Okay, it had been a long weekend. We were exhausted, tired, and we go up to this fast food joint, and I'm saying jokes, they're saying jokes, we're laughing like crazy. We get stir crazy a little bit. And we pull up to the cashier, and she's looking at us like, what is wrong with these people? And we're just laughing our butts off right in her face at like 11:30 at night, right? Just those little memories, stuff like that. Being able to talk about the games, them figuring out how the game even works, and then going from there. It's something, like I said, you look back and you appreciate and you're so thankful for. And to have two incredible parents like that, I can never say thank you enough. So to wrap up my speech here, thank you again, everybody, for showing up tonight. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you for letting me share a few stories and share a few words. And I wish nothing but continued success for this program for decades on. So thank you.
Okay. First person I'm going to introduce here is Sean Bruce. We've had 3 players from that era going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Marcus Wysocki last year, and of course Sean and Dan Cimini this year. And I said when I got the job that I really wanted to try and contend for a state title in 5 years, within 5 years. And we did it in 4. And those 3 were certainly a huge part of that. And this guy was just such a tremendous all-around athlete. Sean not only excelled in baseball, but basketball as well. I believe you read there he scored 1,000 points in basketball. There's no doubt in my mind that if the guy would have played football, with the way he could jump and his speed and his hands, no doubt in my mind he could have been an all-state receiver. No doubt in my mind. And for us, he was just a tremendous shortstop, leadoff hitter, all-state. Again, helped lead us to the Final Four. Was a captain of that team. His senior year, 28 for 28 in stolen bases. So I guess the coach may not have tried to do that enough. 28 for 28, not bad. Leader in runs with 50. And that's only, in terms of stolen bases, only second to Chris Getz, who was inducted last year. Thing I remember most, I think, in terms of Sean and the Berkeley game. Berkeley threw a left-hander. We're in the regional final. We had beaten Sterling Heights. Marcus Wysocki had beaten Sterling Heights, and the pitcher who was 12-0 at the time. And Sean's facing a lefty. And wouldn't you know it, first at bat, home run over the right field fence. And it set the tone for that game, and it propelled us. We won that game, I believe it was 9-2, and we ended up going to the Final Four. Sean was a five-tool player. He could run, he could throw, he could catch, he could do it all. He was a five-tool player. Took his talents to Michigan State as well. Ended up coaching with us at South. Did a great job there. And the thing about Sean was kind of like Elvis used to always say, TCB, take care of business. And that's the way Sean was. He just took care of his business in a very professional way. And now the thing that I'm the most proud of and thankful for is I get to see him quite often. He's the CFO at the neighborhood club. I'm very proud of what he's done. It's mine and my wife's kind of place away from home, so to speak. We love going there. He's done a tremendous job there, tremendous job in the community. And I'm so glad, and again, so blessed that we've been able to keep in touch for almost 40 years. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our next Hall of Famer, Sean Bruce.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah. Really nice. Oh, thanks.
That was a really nice introduction, Coach. I appreciate it. I probably would only correct you on one thing. I would not have been a wide receiver because I did not like getting hit. But I agree, I would have been all-state, but probably as a DB. I am obviously the oldest player here. I started when Coach started. So all you guys, most of you, the players, have no idea who I am or if I was good. This is gonna be hard for me because I like talking about myself, but I'm not going to, but I will tell you guys, I was very good. But I'm self-aware enough to know, because I've seen every one of you play, and Carmen, you guys were better baseball players than me, no question about it. But I look forward to sitting at that table next year with the really good players. I guess I didn't really write a speech, so I have a couple things written down here. I'm trying to remember I wanted to thank the Dugout Club. So this is a great evening. What's meant the most to me is seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time and talking to people that I haven't talked to in a long time. People that have supported me my entire life. It's great seeing them. The attendees, thanks for being here. South, my memories of South. With Coach, like I said, so his first year was 1984, correct? Correct. So I was a freshman, and our JV coach was talking to us in the gym, and the door opens up, and this guy with a shirt that was probably 3 sizes too small and a mustache was walking in, and we knew there was a new coach in the program, and it was Coach Griesbaum. And he wasn't smiling, I can tell you that. So my first impression of coaches, I was terrified. But then he talked to us. He was very calm and very confident. And from that moment on, even though I was a freshman, I knew I wouldn't be playing for him. I sensed that he thought he was going to be a good coach, that he was going to lead the program to greatness. I just want to talk about the years that I played, 85, 86, 87. So 85, I didn't play with any bad players. As all of you have talked about earlier here, it's a remarkable, this community, how many good players we churn out, probably even before my time. 85, we had an excellent team. We lost in the districts. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Coach always had the goal. He still has it. Guys, we want to win the league and get to the Final Four. We did not win the league, and we did not get to the Final Four in 85. We actually lost in the districts to the eventual state champs. 1986, another very talented team. One of my teammates, Pete Muir's here, really good left-handed hitter, fast in the outfield. Didn't win the league and didn't make it to the Final Four. We lost in the regional, so we made it one step further to the eventual state runner-up. My senior year, we won 29 games, which to me, I did have some records before I left the school. I think a lot of the reasons why I had records is because I don't think they kept any before 1983, so somebody had to have some of them, and I had them. But the one record I was most proud of is we won 29 games, and I don't think we were expected to. We had the school record for wins for a long time. We don't have it anymore. But that was the first year we won the league, and we got to the Final Four, as Coach said. And I know as players, you want to do the best for yourself, but I know that team, how much it meant to us to get to the Final Four because of what Coach meant to us, because of everything he did for us. We felt like we finally did something for him. And we got up to the state finals and we got beat by a better team. Simple as that. I think the common thread you hear tonight from all these players is this community, how fortunate we are to have the coaches we have and the parents we have, and I'm no different. Matt Reno was a really young guy back when I was playing. He coached at South, and he taught me a lot about infield that I didn't know. Paul Pellerito's here. He taught me a lot in Babe Ruth. His teams were always good, so he wasn't able to pick me because I was like the winner. I was be the first or second player taken in the draft. And there's a guy way in the back. Like Coach said, I was pretty good at basketball. Joe Beldiga, he was formative for me when in 7th and 8th grade. He's the best basketball coach I ever had, and he's a tremendous man. I want to thank mostly two people now. My dad, when I was growing up, he allowed me to try every sport except for hockey. He would come to all my games, and I heard Ben say it, and it's a beautiful thing. I played catch with my dad. I remember that to this day. It's one of my favorite memories, and I didn't think about that until Ben said it. My dad came to all my games. He supported me. He coached me. He critiqued me when I did something wrong, but he let me fail. And I don't think I'd be the man today I am if it wasn't for my dad. He was also, I think I got my athletic genes from him. He was an All-American fencer at University of Detroit Mercy. Apparently fencing's a sport, so I guess that's where I got my gene. But my dad, tonight, I'm just glad I can share this with you because you meant so much to me growing up, and I wouldn't be here without you. And then the other person, obviously, Coach said it earlier today. I know most of these coaches. It's true. South's had a tremendous group of coaches all throughout, and it's because of this man. People want to coach with him. He taught us a lot about not just baseball, but about being better human beings. Coach is going to leave a legacy in this community. South's baseball program is better, way better now than when he got there. This community is better because of Dan. It's better than when he got here. We're Hall of Fame players, but Coach, to me, is a Hall of Fame man. If I'm half the man that he is when I 70 or 80, or when I'm ready to die, then I would consider it. I'm hoping. No, seriously, if I'm half the man he is, then I will consider my life a success. This is the best program in the state. We compete with the Catholic League teams, and we've won state titles, and it's all because of this man and everything he's done. So, Coach, thanks for everything, and that's it. Have a good night.
From someone who's in the 7th inning of their life, Sean, I'm not ready to go yet. I hope I can at least go 9. Maybe get extras. I don't know. Next, Dan Cimini. First memory of Dan, and it's kind of a joke between us the last 40 or so years. We're at the regional at North, and they announced Dan's name. And for some reason, you would have thought that it was supercalifragilistic. I mean, they thought it was some complicated name. And he couldn't get them to pronounce his name correctly. It's Dan Cimini. Cimini. And he's got about 7-8 at-bats that day, okay? And they still don't get it right. Somebody eventually said, it's Cimini. Okay, I think they got it right, his 8th at-bat. At any rate, Dan was a great center fielder on that team that Sean was talking about. Just great speed, great jump on the ball, great reads on the ball. Just patrolled that like nobody we've ever had. Hit 300 for us. He was second to Sean in stolen bases. Went on after that to Macomb first, and then to another D1 program, University of Detroit, which had some very good baseball teams. But his true contribution certainly, obviously in addition to being a player, has been a coach. And after he coached with us, went on to Liggett. And as was said earlier, certainly put Liggett on the baseball map. Okay, 10 Final Four appearances, 9 trips to the state finals, 6 state titles. Okay, 1 titles in 4, 3, 2, and probably would have won it in Division I had we not been so fortunate to beat North and Liggett in the same day in the district. We were up 5-4. They had men on second and third, and one of their hitters hits a screaming line shot that our third baseman had to put in front of his face to protect himself. And we ended up winning that game 5-4. And at that time, we thought after beating North and beating Liggett, they had just a tremendous team. We beat them 5-4. We thought, hey, we're going to win the whole thing. There's no doubt. And we didn't have a tough game the rest of the way because of that district and having to beat them. And no doubt in my mind, had they beaten us, they would have gone on to win the state that year in 2018. No doubt. He's in the Michigan High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. The thing about Dan is he's just a phenomenal coach. He knows the game as well or better than anybody that I know. He knows game day situations better. He knows how to get everything out of players. He knows how to spot player weaknesses and strengths. He's just a great coach. And it certainly has shown up in the win column for him. The thing, however, that I'm the most proud of is this is a kid that used adversity in his favor. He made good. I'm reading a book right now called Inner Excellence, and one of the things they talk about, it's kind of alluded to here already, is dealing with failure. And it's not just success and failure. There's success, and again, not failure, it's feedback. Okay? Use failure as a learning opportunity. And Dan was like so many that have to fail first before they succeed, or to overcome other obstacles. And he certainly has done that. And I'm so very proud tonight to honor him by inducting him into the Grosse Pointe South Baseball Hall of Fame. Dan Cimini.
Thanks, Coach. That was unbelievable. This has just been an amazing night. I don't even need to, I wish I wouldn't even have had to come up here, because seeing all the faces, it was like a blast from the past. I feel like I got beamed back 40 years and saw so many people that I love that have been such big parts of my life. From a little kid running around in Grosse Pointe Park with a single mom who drank too much, no dad around. Sean, I'm so glad you got to play catch with your dad. I never got a chance to play catch with my dad. The guys that are up here, the memories just pop in my head. Sean, we grew up together. We were in every single class growing up, all the way through defer. We were always seen to be attached to each other, on all the neighborhood club teams together, playing basketball against each other in neighborhood club. It was just, growing up, I used to go over to his house, and we played floor hockey in the backyard and basketball, and his dad and him took me to my first U of M football game. I just remember that, and it was so awesome. And those are memories that came pouring in tonight when I saw him and I saw everybody. Cam Gibson coming up here. I'll never forget his dad. I had him when he was at Liggett. I taught him in 3rd grade, and his dad took me to a suite at Tiger Stadium or Comerica Park, and he said, he goes, "Oh yeah, man, if he ever gives you any trouble, grab him by the back of the hairs of his neck. He hates that." I'm like, "Kurt, they'll fire me in 2 seconds if I do that." He goes, "I don't care. I'm giving you permission. Grab him by the back of the hairs." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that." But to watch him grow up the way he did and the success he's had, I'm just so proud of these guys. Carmen, a great story. I didn't really get to know him very well. But 15-year-old Redbirds, we had tryouts, and we had a really good team, and he came to the tryout. I asked him to come. His dad brought him there, and he came to the tryout, and tryout was over, and I walked up to his dad, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to offer you guys a spot on the Redbirds." And his dad looked at me and goes, "Why the hell would we want to play the Redbirds? We're on the number 1 team, South Farmington Blues," or whatever the hell team it was. And so I looked at him, and I go, "All right, that's cool." I shook his hand. I go, "Good luck." So I remember going back, we picked the team, I'm in left field, and they said, "What did Carmen say?" I said, "Oh, he's playing with the Blues." I go, "We're going to get in every tournament that they're in, and we're going to kick their ass." And I'm going to tell you, that year, right off the bat, we played in the 15U state championship, USSSA state championship game. It was at Michigan State. Who were we playing? South Farmington Blues. Carmen's on the mound just dealing. Connor Fannin was dealing. It was 0-0 in the 4th. And unfortunately, he injured his arm. And it went from competitiveness. I remember running out there. I felt so bad for him. And it was just it was a touching moment, but I respect the hell out of you ever since that day. And it made us better. We won, by the way. But just seeing you up here just brought back those memories of positive, cool memories. And he had an unbelievable career. I will say this to this table that's sitting here. How the hell Cam Gibson and Benedetti were on the same team and never won a state championship? You guys need to start looking in the mirrors. 2 pro players. I'm not going to say it, but if I was coaching those guys, we got at least a couple of rings, brother. I'll tell you that right now. So that was, it's really cool to see everybody that I haven't seen in so long. These coaches that coached me were just amazing. It was so much fun. But going back to 1986, I'm going to bring this up because it's come full circle. Probably the lowest point of my baseball career. I was a baseball junkie. Baseball, to everybody, you have to understand, has saved my life. Amen. From the day I was born, every trial and tribulation, everything bad that has ever happened to me, I turned to baseball. I didn't turn to drugs. I didn't turn to alcohol. I didn't turn to anything negative. I turned to baseball to save me from that. And it was God that did it. I know now. He said, here, this is this game for you. And I loved it, and I put everything I had into it. I mean, if you ever knew me when I was a little kid, if you wanted to find me, just try to defer. I was there with my friends playing baseball somehow, some way. And then I got to South after I went out with my dad. My mom was having some troubles back here. So I went out, and I never knew my dad, went out to Oregon, and thought he was going to be the greatest thing for us, me and my brother. He wasn't. And he was on drugs. We didn't know that. So I came back after a couple of years, and my junior year, I came out for baseball. I saw my friends. I was so geeked up to play baseball, and tried out, and was so excited. And I remember Greasebaum would post, your handwriting, by the way, just haunts me. And it haunts me in a good way. You got the greatest handwriting. And he wrote everything out, all the hitting. You guys remember all the stuff, the hitting groups and everything he'd write out. And I remember going to the board, and just for like a half hour, I'm reading the names, and my name's not on it. And the type of person that I was wouldn't allow me to just walk away from that. It just wouldn't allow me to. So I walked into his office, and I said, Coach, I don't understand why I'm not on the team. He goes, well, I didn't really know you that well, and there's a lot of seniors on the team, whatever he said. I didn't listen to him. But he said, a kid just walked in and said he wants to play hockey, and he's not going to play this year. So I want you to come back out on Monday and for the second tryout. So now I'm geeked. I'm like, all right, I'm coming, man. This is great. I was so fired up. And then I think we did 2 or 3 days of a tryout, and I went back 7:30 in the morning, looked at the list. My name wasn't on it. And I remember my buddy, my best friend, was with me, and I said, I can't go to school today. I got to leave. So we walked from South to Ramshorn that was on Mac and St. Clair. And I sat there all day crying like a baby, just crying my eyes out. Like, I still, to this day, I want to cry now because I remember how much it meant to me and how much it hurt. And it was that time in my life that I said to myself, nobody, and this wasn't against you, Coach, but nobody's going to tell me I can't do anything in this world. Nobody. And I did everything I could to get myself in the best shape, just played a lot of baseball until then, and I told myself I was going to come out my senior year. Everybody I talked to in Grosse Pointe, you guys know how Grosse Pointe is, okay? Let's get real. Anytime I talked to a dad or somebody who coached or whatever, and I said, I'm coming out for the team my senior year, what do you think they said? You're crazy. They're not going to take a senior on a team. And looking back at it now, why the hell? No, why would you? It just made no sense. But I said, I don't care. I'm coming out, and that's all there's to it. So I came out. I was killing people. You remember? I was just running people over. I didn't care. I was sliding. We're doing sliding drills in the gym, and I'm just taking out people. I didn't care. I was trying so hard to make the team. I wanted to show him anything. So I remember halfway through the trial, he pulled me aside, and he goes, Dan, you need to slow down. You're going to make the team. And I just remember that was the greatest feeling a year later that I could have ever imagined at that time. And from that point forward, I just said I was going to do everything I can to win a state championship, or at least try to, with this group of kids that we had. We had the best year. We had the best time. I was starting in center field, and it was awesome, and it was great, and it took my career to another level, and I was able to. I remember Coach, and again, this is stuff that I want to say tonight because everybody in here has said something unbelievable about Coach, but I'm different, and I'll tell you why. From that point, he came up to me. We were in the playoffs. I swear to you right now, I wasn't going to college. I had no aspirations to go to college. Coach came up to me and he said, you want to go to college? Where do you want to play in baseball? I don't know. I go, I want to. He goes, well, what about Macomb? My grades weren't good in high school. And he said, I'll call the coach, and I think you should go there. And then I said, all right, great. And so the coach called me couple days later, said, you want to come out for the team? I said, yeah. Came out, went out for the team, made the team, had a really good 2 years there, got my associates, got a full ride to University of Detroit. Never had to pay a cent to go to college. Then coming back after college, I called Coach again. And I said, Coach, can I coach with you? And he said, heck yeah, come and coach. And I coached, me and Sean coached together, and coached for 3-4 years, off one and then on again. And then I interviewed for a job at Liggett. First person that I have on my resume is Coach. He called, put a word in for me, I got the job. So, coaches mean a lot. There's people in this room mean a lot. Okay, it's the little things that you just don't understand at the time. But getting cut from that team in '86 probably was the best thing that ever happened to me. And people are always like, are you pissed? I was never pissed. I was hurt, but it just motivated me. Okay, and then, you know, in Little League, I wasn't supposed to make the all-star team. Our all-star team went to the state tournament. I made the team as a starter on that team. In high school, I wasn't supposed to make it as a senior. I made it as a senior. In college, I went on to have a really good college career. Wasn't supposed to play college baseball. I didn't even know if I was going to go to college. I did that. Me and Sean won a national championship in the summer in college with a group of guys that weren't supposed to do anything, and we kicked everyone's butt and won a national championship. I've had that winning pedigree ever since I played that 1 year at South. That ran through my veins. I want to win so bad. Not in a bad way. It's just built into me. And it started with Coach. If he doesn't, what happens to me if he doesn't take me my senior year? Where do I end up? I mean, it's just crazy to think about that. You know? And before I go on with my final thing, the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life isn't any of these championship rings. It isn't coaching baseball. It isn't graduating from college. It's those 3 beautiful kids over there of mine. Dominic, Kelsey, and Caitlin. And at this time in my life, the greatest thing to me is my fiance, Amanda Amin. Okay, that's the important thing in life. Wins and losses mean nothing. Family, and I've listened to all you guys, the family and the love that's in this room, and to watch Jenzen up here crying, and he's one of the toughest mugs I've ever seen in my life. I remember when he punched the wall and broke his hand, screwed the whole season up for the South. Remember that one? But the memories, the fun stuff that we all can say to each other, you know, the Bob Conways that, you know, calling me out at third base when I was 12 years old and saying he had a date and he had to go home when I was safe by a frickin' mile. And then he ends up being my assistant coach for a couple of my state championships, my tranquility coach, as he would say. Just the faces in this room, the people that I've come across in this community, in this program, have been unbelievable. But I have to say this, the Griesbaums, Coach Griesbaum, there's nobody that's been a father figure to me in my life other than you. It wasn't every day. I didn't come over for dinners, but you taught all of us how to be an unbelievable family man, an unbelievable faith man, and that ethics award that you got from the ABCA, that should have happened 20 years ago. So I'm here, I'm still alive, okay, I've been through a lot, but everything in my life, okay, the state championships and all that, it's awesome, but it's because of the chance that you gave me and all the chances that you've given me. He had me come on the board of the Michigan High School Coaches Association 17 years ago. I just can't thank you enough. So thank you. This program is amazing. Thank you to everybody in here. Obviously you can see how much this program and how much the opportunity I had to play here has changed my life. And I'm continuing to change all these young men's lives that I'm teaching now. And that's the most important thing. And I know how to do it because I've lived it. And thank you so much.
Year when we announced the first Hall of Fame class, and people are kind of kidding, and I realize that. But Matt Reno had told me, people want to know that there was baseball at South before 1984. And I said, yeah, but as was alluded earlier, I got nothing when I came in terms of stats, no scorebooks, no nothing, no records, no nothing. So I had no clue who did what before I got there. And so I told Matt, we're going to rectify that. So what did I do? I asked Matt if he would be the contact person in terms of our old timers, whatever, in terms of the Hall of Fame. And I want to thank Matt for doing that, and thank him for the research that he's done, and thank him for the research that he's going to continue to do. This first one that we're going to honor posthumously, unfortunately, is Mark Saber. Mark graduated from South the year I graduated from Southlake, 1971. I know I must have played against him in the summer. Mark was a 3-sport star at South: football, basketball, and baseball. Excelled at all of them. He was MVP in '71. He's on this trophy here, as well as some of the other people in this room. Led the team in stolen bases, RBIs, home runs, and tied for average. But what he accomplished after was even more noteworthy. Played a JC in Florida called Manatee, and then went on to play at the University of Georgia. Great program. And I'd like to read you a quote that Chuck Hollisey gave about Mark. Chuck hired me, one of the people that hired me back in 1979-80 when he was AD at South. And by the way, when I got hired, he said, I have a JV volleyball, girls volleyball opening. Do you want it? You want it, right? I said, yeah, okay, all right, I'll take it. I had played beach volleyball. I didn't know anything else. But I appreciate the opportunity anyway. But here's a quote that Chuck gave in terms of Mark Saber. Mark played everything, but baseball was his best. He was the best infielder in our league. Mark was a great competitor, a coach's dream. He fought and scrapped for everything. Losing just wasn't in his vocabulary. And unfortunately, as you probably, Mark passed along with his wife and youngest daughter in a tragic accident in 1983. And we all talk as Christians or even not. Sometimes, life is just not fair. It's just not fair, and we don't understand it. But I know Mark was a man of faith. I know that from what I've heard. And I know that he would also agree with what I'm about to say, that even though we don't understand a lot of these tragedies, we certainly know who is going to help us through them and comfort us, and that's the good Lord. So at this time, I'd like to have Kate and Adam come up as children. South is just so privileged and so honored to induct Mark Saber into our Baseball Hall of Fame.
I just wanted to say really quick, he loved baseball. You all love baseball. He loved this town. You all love this town, so you all share that in common. And we don't get to hear his name a lot 40 years later, but to see his name on the table and to be with all of you sharing this shared hobby, it just means a lot. So thank you.
And our mother was a Grosse Pointe South Blue Devil cheerleader, so they met in high school. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So in kind of closing here, these Hall of Famers, last year, this year, you ask yourself, well, what does it take to be this good? What does it take to be of this caliber? And certainly talent has to be there, but it's not number one. It really isn't. Work ethic certainly is a characteristic that all of these Hall of Famers had. They weren't that great just because of their talent. They were great because they worked at it. And that's the toughest thing for us as coaches now, even to get players to understand. You may not have the greatest talent, but don't get outworked. Give yourself an opportunity to succeed. And also, these players had the confidence and mental toughness. Charlie Braun, there wasn't anybody that's going to tell him that he was too small to do anything. No way in the world. Charlie was as confident of a player that we've ever had. Whether he went to college, he didn't get a great scholarship offer in the beginning at State. He had to earn that, and he certainly did, becoming the player that he did. Ben Jenzen, again, it was alluded to his all-around athletic ability. Again, MVP in the league in football, MVP in the league in swimming, MVP in the league in baseball. Okay, that's an athlete. That's an athlete. And then Carmen, I knew from the time I saw him in the 8th grade, summer of 8th grade, he's coming to South. I knew just looking at him over at Kite Monroe, this kid's going to start for us, and he's going to have an amazing career. I could tell that as an 8th grader. Started as a freshman, and obviously Mr. Baseball, All-State 3 years. The other thing that they had in common is great leadership. Some led more by words, but they all led by example. Their work ethic, what they knew about the game. They were students of the game. And that's what made them great. And as you've heard too here, how great they've become in terms of after their baseball careers are over. They took everything that they learned, whether they're a doctor, a businessman, a coach, or whatever it happens to be. They took all of that into their careers with them. They weren't going to let failure affect them. Again, they used it as a learning opportunity. So, again, in closing, I want to thank you guys, as well as last year's Hall of Famers, for providing us such a great foundation. I was honored with this coaching award, but, and I don't say this, believe me, to be humble, but that was a community award. Everybody here has talked about community. That was a community award. I share that with this community, my administration, my players, coaches, my family, especially my wife. And as a result, South Baseball is not only known throughout the state, it's not only known throughout the country, because the American Baseball Coaches Association has 15,000 members in 42 countries. 42 countries. And they know about South Baseball. And that's what I'm the most proud of. Again, not me, but I'm proud of this community and all of you and the parents and the great players that I've had over the years. And it's helped us, you guys have helped us, all of you have helped us establish such a culture of excellence. Such a culture of excellence. And again, I'm most proud of the fact that we're doing it the right way. We do it with ethics, we do it with integrity, and we do it with homegrown kids. We don't get anybody from outside the district, all with homegrown kids. And that's the thing that I'm the most proud of. So again, I want to thank you all. Thank you, Hall of Famers. Congratulations, very deserving. Thank you for all you've done for the program. All of you, thank you for being here tonight, and God bless you all.